Hey there, welcome back to my channel. It's Introvert World. I'm still your host, Andre. And on this episode, we're going to be talking about fear. This is a continuation of the first video where we talked about failure, and is a part of my introduction series. So I thought it was appropriate to name this video Fighting Fear. First, I'd like to thank everybody that watched the first video. I mean, it was crazy. Like, the first 24 hours were insane. I got like 30 subscribers within a week, 100 plus views and 30 or so likes, I think, and then a handful of comments. It was all positive feedback, you know, just kind of like reinforced that, like, hey, this isn't as bad as you thought it was going to be, or it's not all that bad. I really appreciate you guys' support, especially if you're coming back to watch this second video. And if you just watched the first video and you one and done, hey, you know, I still appreciate it. And then thank you for people who shared it, told a friend about it, or watched it with a friend. Like I said, the title of this video is Fighting Fear. And maybe you're like me, where you think stuff out before they happen. Kind of like a self-sabotage, where you're going to a situation and kind of your fight or flight kicks in, and you're like, I don't really know how the outcome of this is going to be, but I think this, and this is going to happen, and so I might as well just not do it anyway. And that was like one of the problems I ran with starting like my YouTube channel, was I think I know everything. I think I know how things are going to go, and I might as well not do it. And I found myself in more situations that I would like to admit where I have like that type of flawed thinking. However, sometimes you just have to sell yourself, and even though you've prepared yourself for what you essentially think is going to be the outcome, you still have to go into those situations anyway. So let's say you might have like a fear of swimming, or being a poor swimmer, or fear of heights. And I actually have a story that somebody recommended I put into one of my videos, and so we'll talk about that today. But fear is a natural thing. It just kind of lets your body know, like, hey, what you're doing is unnatural, or it's unsafe, or, you know, you have these set boundaries. However, you know, sometimes we have to push our boundaries to get to like the next level of greatness, you know, kind of get to our next stepping stone of where we want to be in life. Oh, for the comments, 3 of the comments from the last video that kind of stuck out to me the most. One person I know, they told me like, hey, you know, I had equipment, I had video ideas, I had everything I needed to start my YouTube channel. But I didn't, because when I told my family, they all kind of laughed at me and told me basically to stick with my day job. And so we talked a little bit. They told me like how proud they were. They told me how proud of me they were, that, you know, I sat down, stuck with it, and was able to like push out my first video, because they understood like kind of the process that like creators go through of like, hey, I'm gonna do something and I don't really know if it's gonna be successful or not. A second comment I got from somebody I work with, they said, you know, I thought about doing a YouTube, but I just decided I didn't have it into me, because I don't have like the willpower, the brain power to create content that people want to watch. And it's a learning experience, right? Like, you don't know until you try, and you can't succeed until you fail. However, if you can do and succeed without failing, more power to you. And obviously, this second video is proof that it's hard, but it's not impossible. So we're gonna go back to the story I was gonna tell. So in school, we had this class that we had to pass. It was called survival swimming. Every time I tell people like, yeah, I struggled in swimming in school, they would just think like, you can't float in water, you know, you can't jump in a pool, you swim to one end, swim to the other. However, there's a bunch of curveballs in this class that they threw at us to prepare us for kind of like worst scenario situations that we might find ourselves in life. Kind of like, how can you save yourself and save others, or help yourself and help others get to safety. So for this class, on the survival gates, you could be passing the class, but if you did not complete this survival gate, you would still fail the course, and it was a graduation requirement. And it's called Survival Gate 3. So you would walk up the tower of a collegiate size dive tower to, I believe it's like 6.5 meters. So it's roughly like 28 feet or so. And you would have your clothes on. And the objective was to step off the tower, maintain this kind of like positioning that's supposed to like protect your vitals, enter the water, and then swim up underwater through these hoops to the other end of the pool. And then you come up, you swim down, swim back, swim down, kind of just like an endurance swim. And if you didn't step off the tower, that means you failed that event. The event was like 40 points, and stepping off the tower and maintaining that position was 2 of them. And so there's a lot of people who did not pass this class, kind of like on their first or second go, because they had like this fear of stepping off the tower. And they could swim. However, that fear was from like the voice inside their head saying like, what we're doing is unnatural. And so that's what we're going to talk about now, is you have to figure out a way to control that voice when you're putting yourself in a situation that you don't think you're prepared for, and you're like trying to figure out like, I don't know if I'm really sure about like my skills in this area. Like for example, me with like YouTube, right? I sat all week and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna record the video. I don't know if I'm gonna record the video, and here I am recording. And one of the techniques I developed for myself for that particular part of the course was, I would tell myself, and it's gonna sound crazy, I would tell myself to think of like puppies just like out having fun somewhere, and it got my mind off of like what I was actually about to do. And instead of my brain going like, hey, this is unnatural for you to like, hey, sorry the video got cut short, but remember, it's an introvert world, and I'm your host Andre. I'll see you next week for part 2.